Are we here? We're here. Hello. Well, I'm here. Peggy's still doing whatever she's doing over there. She has pants on though, so winning.
I have pants on. I'll be over.
She's like, I don't have pants. I'm like, well, we're only shown from the waist up, so I'm sure it's fine. Oops, hold on. Whoa, Inception. Whoa, that was bad. Like we needed to hear that twice. I was like, it's fine, and then she's like, maybe I'll put on pants. I'm like, okay. So yeah.
I know you. You'll shift the camera just to try and embarrass me, and then I'll say something bad.
I would never do that to you.
You would in a heartbeat.
I would in a heartbeat. That would be so much fun.
It's
mostly because I know she'd get over it.
I would never do that to you.
Yeah, right? Okay, I'm popping out the chat so it's big so that our old eyes can see it. Hey, I wonder if I can make the text bigger. I'm going to try something. It doesn't work. The little zoom button on Google Chrome doesn't make the text bigger. No, it doesn't work. Oh, Control plus plus?
Yeah.
No. Oh, it does. You can make the text bigger on chat. My old eyes are so happy. Peggy's old eyes are good. I didn't know I could do that. Look at it.
You learned something new.
Look at how we can actually read from a distance.
And you think you're the computer geek. Ha.
I love it.
Ha. She thinks she's the computer geek. Hi, guys.
Peggy's excited because my shirt has no back. She was like, reach back there. She's like, ooh. She had a little moment.
I get skin.
Backless shirt for the win. Hello, everybody. I can see
Hi, guys.
It's so exciting. Look.
You are so hyper for this
big it
early
is.
in the morning. You're usually the one that's like, leave me alone. I'm not awake yet.
I tried that. It didn't work this morning. Peggy was talking politics at 8 a.m. It was fun. Also, fair warning, we had to get our car towed to the shop last night, so it is currently at Toyota, and I'm waiting to make sure that it's hopefully just a battery.
She may get a phone call that she may
have.
Well,
that's the punchline. I might get a phone call, so I have my little...
They can leave a message and you can sort it out
That's
later.
true, so it's probably fine. Also, I grabbed
We're not going anywhere until... we're not going
just
anywhere.
in case, for fiddling and stuff.
She's a little worked up today because, oh my God, yesterday was a comedy of errors, and then we're fixing it all today.
What's funny is I had a really happy day yesterday.
Yeah, we took Bruno for his eye appointment because God forbid you not have a dog that needs veterinary care. Anyway, and he's actually beautifully doing fine. They're very happy with him. Went to pick Lisa up. Car didn't start. So that got towed. And that was a bit of an adventure. Looks like it's just our battery though, so it's fine. But we're trying to deal with towing a car, and we've got this dog with us, so that having a dog with you changes all of your options when you're trying to figure out how to get your car to the shop and get you and your dog home. But
Shayla was crying at Steve's door because it was closed. She was like,
and then,
hi Satya.
And then
We're just getting started.
We ordered food because it was like rah 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 rah.
I wanted
2 hours later, the food shows up.
Oh my God, it was such a gong show. Our skip the dishes service. She was
in such a mood yesterday. Her
so
inner critic was like outer criticking.
No, it wasn't an inner critic. It was just I hated everybody. It was it.
She was channeling. She was channeling.
It wasn't self-directed at all. I was just like, nobody talked to me.
You were channeling me. It was like so bad.
I was belligerent. I like being belligerent. I wasn't doubting that I was being belligerent.
There's a couple of other B words that describe your behavior.
My face just got red. Are you
I'm not sorry.
What? You should be.
You're hyper.
I'm not. I have a
stone. Hyper. You're hyper.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's better. Okay, yay.
When's the chat actually supposed to start? Or did you say we were early?
Oh, no, we're not early. Where did you think we were early? I'm not early to anything.
I know. I thought you said you were starting at a couple minutes early. I said no. I didn't know.
No, it's 10:07.
You can't tell time, so early
is tell time. I can tell time.
A couple of minutes to you. I'll be ready in a couple of minutes. That means like queue up something to watch on Netflix and just relax.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I'm not that bad.
You have a contest to deal with.
Oh yes, that's what I was gonna start with.
We have a contest.
I am a squirrel. So we have our live draw to do for the 777 random.
And then we will get on to talking about inner critics and how they deserve to be tied up in the chair in the corner.
I have names in here, and mostly this was an excuse because I haven't gotten a chance to show my big singing bowl.
Do you actually have it handy, or
I
are you just?
Handy. Yeah, I have everything right here next to me. Lift up your arm. Lift up your arm. Okay, put your arm back down. Okay, good job. See, she's so obedient. Don't look at me. It's fine. Everything's fine. Stop looking at me. I'm gonna make the singing bowl.
I'm so what?
Shh. Just listen to the pretty sound. All the names are in here. Can you guys hear it? It's like this really deep tone. I love it so much.
Bruno is over there going like, what the hell just happened?
He's
baby,
fine.
it's fine. It's okay, it's just a noise.
It's so good. I love the deep sound. Don't wreck it. Don't wreck it. All their names are in there. Oh, don't drop it. Don't wreck it. Don't drop it.
You know what she does last night? She's going, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And then it's like, I'm like, okay, good night. And a couple minutes later, I'm like, she didn't write down or cut out any of the names. So before I could go to bed, I had to do it. It was horrible. I cried.
I woke up this morning
No,
and
I
my
didn't.
Silver Saturday video was already starting. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't do the names. And she's like, I did. And I was like, thanks, honey. You guys couldn't hear it at all? Okay, hold on. I'm bringing it closer.
It's very low tone.
Okay, I'm going to get it. I'm going to ding it first.
Sometimes.
Peggy's grabbing my butt.
Tell me to shush. And then you TMI.
Sorry, it's not very loud. You gotta stop talking.
It's got a.
I don't know if it's gonna come through.
It's got a beautiful tone, but it's really low.
It's really low, yeah. So you can't really hear it. But if I just ding it, you'll hear it. But the bottom end of that tone, yeah, the bottom end of that tone is where it is when I make it sing. It's like a really low bass. Oh, it makes me so happy.
Yeah, if it sounds like your speakers are vibrating, that's the bull. Anyway.
But yeah, I have all the names in here. In Peggy's neater handwriting than mine. I'm getting sweaty because you're. Yeah, here we go. She can't put her arm around me because I have no back.
Are we gonna have one of those days?
Yes,
where
we're gonna be awkward. Oh, see, Alexa could hear it. Hi, everybody who's just joining us. So we are gonna do. I'm just mixing up all the papers. We are gonna do a live draw for the 777 subscriber giveaway, which is. Let's show this again. This really nice slouchy origami bag. Look, I get to hold it in front of Peggy that Peggy made. It's lined with this really pretty. Hold on, wait, stop, wait. It's lined with this inner really pretty green swirly fabric, which I love. It's so pretty. Anyways, outer flowers. So this is the main prize, and then we have for the winner can choose a second, like to be included, either this zipper pouch. Either this zipper pouch or this zipper pouch.
Whichever one the winner would like.
So whichever one. So we're about to draw that now.
Thanks, Kay. Yeah, we're sorry that you're.
And then we'll get talking about our topic.
We're sorry that you're slow at making coffee, Simon. But
Simon, it's because I have a Keurig, so I just literally push.
It's already on. She just goes. Zoop. If she had to actually work at making the coffee, she'd still be in there crying over it.
No, I wouldn't. I would have asked you to make it.
Honey, can you make me a coffee because I can't do it?
That's exactly how it would have gone. Oh my god, I tried to make Kraft dinner, which for those of you not in Canada is like Kraft macaroni and cheese or whatever. I tried to make that for dinner the other night and managed to screw it up. Like I dumped all the noodles in and then I didn't stir them right away, so then they turned into mush when I tried to stir them.
Yeah, she poured in the noodles and just walked away. Like,
and then I stirred them vigorously.
and they noodles that we had to break.
You should have seen Steve's face. He was like, it was like a visual face palm. The look on his face was like, did you stir? I'm like, well, yeah, I stirred, just not right away. Anyway, I screwed it up. That's the point. But this is why I don't cook. Not because I'm bad at it, but because A, I don't like it. B, I'm lazy.
I think you're kind of starting to get bad at it because between Steven and I, I don't
have to cook. It's like one of the perks of my life. I like it.
I cook and I like cooking, so that's fine. Steven cooks, he likes cooking, and he's been to culinary school.
Oh, I dropped one. Okay.
So that's fine. But between the two of us, that means, Lisa, I don't think you've been in a position where you have had to cook for like over 2 years now.
We can tell when it's my night to cook, like when Peggy and Steve are like
what's
not
in a
into
box?
it.
Is there a box of something in the cupboard?
Can I put something in? Can we have tater tots and like hot dogs? Like this is what we're gonna eat when it's my night because I'm so fucking lazy. Oh, I said F.
Oh, you swore.
I did. I try not to swear too much on my channel.
Well, you never have to cook.
Okay, you gotta pick a name. We're just battling. You gotta do this. Just one. You only get to pick one. You got one?
I got one. Claire G.
Claire! I didn't see Claire in the chat yet. So Claire G is our winner. So watch this.
We will find you. We will reach out to you. We will get you a thing.
If you see this, reach out to me too so that I know I have your right contact information. But it's CLARE, Claire. So definitely reach out. What?
I was just like, just hold up so people can...
I did. Okay. I did it already.
Lisa's a potty mouth. She always has been. She swears like a trucker. It's bad.
I do not. Peggy's such a liar. I only swear a little bit and occasionally.
At me.
At you, of course.
So
you're just the type of person that.
Because that's your outer critic.
Yeah. Wait, my outer critic. She's not very nice. I was tagging to see just in case Claire was in here.
We'll find her. We'll find her.
And Claire, if you're watching this back, you can message me on Facebook or you can email me at tarotwithlisa@gmail.com.
Well, we can also respond to her comment in whichever
I gotta find
it is.
Yes.
It's okay.
I have not received my Witch's Moon yet, Kay. It is on its way to me. I expect I'll have it sometime next week. They give me a tracking number. Basically, I usually know about when I'll get it because I usually get it within about I usually get it within about 3-4 days of the billing notification for the next month's box. So that's kind of how my timing tends to work. And they just billed me like yesterday for next month's box. So,
yeah, but we also have some horrendous weather happening around here.
yes,
We're
true.
finally clearing up here, but had a couple of snow dumps.
Lulu's making spaghetti sauce. Hey, what are we having for dinner, Steve? I saw hamburger in there.
You are she is a squirrel today. Oh my God.
Do not expect me to stay on topic. It's not happening.
Well, it needs to happen.
You're doing we have a topic. Yes. Sorry. Good point. This is supposed to be.
Is she?
Claire G won Becca's giveaway? I thought her name sounded familiar.
Oh, that's funny.
That's awesome.
That
Way to go,
totally
Claire.
funny.
You've got some luck lining up for
Inner
you.
Critic. You know what though? I was
talk about your tower comic because I liked that. I want you to talk about that.
Well, it's just this thing like the best treasure is always in the tower, like always.
People might not have seen it in the chat. So you have to say it again.
In video games and movies and whatever, the best treasure is always in the tower.
Do you remember what you said?
Yeah, I said that.
Before that, you said something about driving into. Somebody said something about driving into.
Somebody said that they're always driving a chariot to the tower, and I just responded that the best treasure is always in the tower. Is always where you find the best treasure.
That's what it was. Okay, so somebody else said something about that the inner critic is like the chariot driving into the tower.
Yes,
or something.
I thought Lulu said that.
It might have been Lulu.
Yeah, and I just said that.
Lucky streak. Yeah, I think you're right, guys. I think I saw her win Becca's giveaway too. That's awesome.
I always think of the tower as a really, really, really crappy day, but but it's also an opportunity to learn something that's gonna benefit you going forward.
Sometimes the tower is like a really crappy month or year.
Yeah, but the tower isn't just crapping on you to crap on you.
No, that's true.
You feel pretty crapped on when it's happening.
There's a reason that it's happening,
and I'm gonna say the word crap a lot.
I noticed.
But
you're kind of known for that. So it's fine.
No, I'm usually known for saying fart, which I just said.
Good job. You managed to make
welcome.
it into every video.
Everything. Yeah, everything.
People would be disappointed.
But you know something also is that when you guys were just one little thing that you guys might not know. I don't listen to any of these videos until I'm watching them with you guys, because then I don't overthink anything that I might say. Lisa's the one who's planned it, and that's fine. I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't even usually. Sometimes I remember to tell Peggy what the topic is beforehand.
Yeah,
but not always.
Because it's easy. I think it's better personally for me to be more spontaneous rather than watching this, because she'll make these 2 or 3 days in advance just so that she's got it prepared. Then I don't have 2 or 3 days to stew on it, and then I come out with stuff that just sounds. I don't know if too polished is the right word, but a little less.
We don't like you for polish. We like you for your blunt, raw,
Well, I don't want to
poppy messages. That's what I like you for.
You know, one of
the things I like you for, obviously, I like you for
overthinking what I'm going to say means that what I end up saying sounds awkward and whatever. So I just don't do it. So
gotcha.
I'm watching these at the same time you guys are. Well, thank you, Lulu. But one thing that I realized, and this is something that I've noticed in the last video. One of the things that I it's kind of like a pet thing that I kind of focus on sometimes, but we've got like the inner critic, we've got the shadow side, we've got that little voice. Part of the problem is with all this stuff is that we don't have the correct language. Because the inner critic can be a good thing in the right circumstances, and it can be no.
I'm going to be opinionated about this.
But no, like I said, it's because of the language.
See, and this is why I like using language to define. Here's how I define it if it helps. I define shadow self, I define as the parts of me that I feel like are not my best self. The parts of me where I don't behave in ways I like. The parts of me where I show my ass, you know? And then that's what I mean about... I was defining, I'm sorry.
But you're making my point for me.
I am.
Because the thing is that when we say inner critic, we have to define it. What does that mean to you? When we say shadow self, we have to define it. When we say... We can't just say inner voice. We can't just say, oh, my inner critic, and everybody has the same understanding of what that means.
That's true. We don't have a common language. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because inner critic means something different to different people.
We don't have a common language that explains this.
That's
true. Yes, there's a whole new vocabulary for me, and I find it confusing.
Yeah.
And this is the part, like inner critic to me, the inner critic is if I say, oh, I'm going to wear this blue shirt today, and my inner critic says, blue doesn't always look good on you. Maybe you want to double check.
Her inner critic is way fucking nicer than my inner
critic.
But this is
no. But this is like, but
that is personal definition. I totally know what you mean.
No, but this is but for me, okay, my personality handles things as part of a range. So my inner critic over here is like helpful. It's like, it's the little voice, it's the whatever, and I don't have.
Peggy has an inner constructive critic. Is
Well,
what she's saying. My inner critic is not.
We don't have a word that says inner constructive critic. We just have inner critic.
Well, see, this is what I tried to define in the video, though, and you're kind of. I mean, what I tried to define in the video is for the sake of the topic.
Yes, the actual critic, the one that says, "Well, what makes you think you deserve to wear that at all?" That's tied up in the fucking chair. It's like, but we have this range, and sometimes, and we don't have a way. We don't have a way to define it in a way that if I say it. If I say it, I have to explain. We always have to explain what we mean because we don't have a common language that identifies it for us.
Well, for the sake of this topic, though,
you're gonna.
For the sake of this topic, I want to deter so that when I'm referring to inner critic, you guys know what I mean.
You're referring to the extreme.
When I'm referring to the inner critic, I'm referring to the voice of self-doubt, the voice that tells you you're not good enough.
Oh yeah, that you should be ashamed.
The non-helpful voice that is never telling you the truth. That's what I'm referring to.
Exactly.
And when I refer to shadow self, I'm referring.
So the inner shitbag.
Yeah.
See, we just found a new word for it. The inner shitbag that tells you that you're not good enough is the one that needs to be tied to the chair.
Maybe that's the thing, is that we're trying to be too gentle with our terminologies.
Well, this is the thing, because like I said, I always work on a range, and there's this area of inner critic that is quite helpful. It's like, oh, that's probably
your inner critic.
Well, this is the thing, because it's
this is where as soon as we get into helpful, it's not inner critic anymore. For me, it's inner voice.
But we don't have the right.
See, to me, it's three terms. It's inner. So I just want to define this really.
No, this is fine.
I want to define it really quick. Yeah. Inner critic is nasty. Inner voice is a voice you can trust. And shadow self is about behavior and the parts of you that you want to deal with, that you want to work on, improve, the parts of you that don't reflect your highest self. Those are my three, I would say, main ones.
And so the inner critic is the one that says, your helpful voice is worthless. Your shadow self is just something you can't fix. Screw you. And here's
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So for me, the inner critic is not ever some voice to be believed.
Okay. So can I just?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So inner critic, inner voice, and shadow self. So the shadow self is something that we need to work on self-awareness because there are things that we want to improve and we just need to learn how.
It's like when you're being a jerk.
I'm just trying to,
when you're being a jerk, that's your shadow self.
Inner voice is the one that's inner
it's
voice.
It's your Jiminy Cricket, like I said in the video.
Inner voice is the one that says, "Oh, blue isn't your color. Double check in the mirror before you decide to wear that today."
Yeah, or like your instinct when you feel like something's off with somebody.
Inner critic is going, "You look ugly in everything you wear, so screw you."
Yes, like your inner critic is a jerk, is an asshole to you.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, tape recording, always repeating the same thing over and over until you push stop.
I don't know if that made any sense, but that makes sense to me.
No, it makes sense. And this is the thing, is because for now that, like I said, we do not have a definitive set language that describes all this stuff.
That's true.
So I can describe how I perceive these things, and then I end up, inner critic is the inner critic is the shitbag.
Yes, totally.
So
we're just gonna say shitbag.
It's a big shitbag. And
a liar.
So the inner voice is the one with helpful advice that may or may not be a slight criticism. Again, blue's not always your color. Check in the mirror. That's a bit of a criticism, but that's not an inner critic.
But you can give yourself constructive criticism.
So that's inner voice because constructive criticism is still inner voice because it's helping you.
Yeah.
Inner critic is you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're not worthy.
The inner critic is always speaking to your insecurities. Always. Your inner critic is never trying to be helpful. Your inner critic is trying to shut you down.
So it's like, okay, so your inner critic is saying your inner voice is wrong, and your shadow self, which isn't always a bad thing because we all know what our bad habits are. But your inner critic
shadow self isn't always
if we know your shadow self is your bad habits, your bad this, your bad that, but they're not like, it's not because you're not.
It's not a part of you that's bad.
It's not a part of you.
These are things that you need to be aware of.
Yeah, these are the things that you need to be aware of and work on. And your inner critic is going, fuck you, you can't succeed at that. So basically the inner critic is what makes the shadow feel so daunting.
I'm curious what you guys think actually about all of these different terms, but I'm also curious about what you guys think about your inner critic and your relationship with your inner critic. So if you have any feedback about that, I'm curious. Because I come at this obviously from my me place. Peggy comes at it from her me place. And it's like, I'm curious where maybe our relationship with these different parts of ourselves overlap. Well, I think, if that makes any sense.
I mean, if you were to run this by an actual therapist, they would use the terms like self-hatred, self-loathing, self-criticism, self-sabotage.
That's my Toyota, guys. Should I silence it or should I answer it? I'm gonna answer
We can't do anything about it.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I'll let it go to voicemail. I can't decide on anything either.
We gotta go. All he's going to ask you is if you want to put a new battery in the car. So basically we're kind of stuck with this thing where language alone makes a conversation difficult. But yeah, so the extreme end of inner critic where just you feel like nothing you do, nothing you say is ever going to be good enough, that there's something wrong, that anything that's going wrong is because there's something wrong with you. So that's what we're addressing.
I noticed chat's being really quiet, so I'm just checking in.
We're either being relevant or offensive. I don't think there's room for any difference.
Caroline says that's because our words lie to ourselves in our minds depending on our emotional state. That's very, very true. When you're in an active place of like being worked up, emotional, good or bad, you're much more likely to get hit with
Well, and we're kind of, I don't know. There's a point that I made like a while ago about being surrounded by all this constant media that you would be your best self if only you would buy this product, do this thing, do this, that. It's a multi-trillion-dollar industry to convince us that we need to do something to improve ourselves because we're just not good enough until we do. And that literally plays off that inner critic.
Well, and also everything we've heard growing up.
Sorry, Marge.
Aw, hope you feel better. And nobody needs to be sorry for not typing. I just want to make sure it sounds good and that kind of thing. We can babble, don't worry. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, anybody who's actually made a video can tell you that sometimes things will just freeze up and you can't tell.
Really know. Yeah.
You can't tell. So it's like, we're just going to subtly hint to get a couple of people to like send us a smiley so we know that things are still working.
Yeah, exactly. But I was going to say too that I think part of it is that I mentioned that the inner critic comes from insecurities and stuff, but the other place the inner critic shows up is fear. If you're afraid of trying something new, your inner critic will be like, what are you thinking? Stop, like that's stupid.
But you know what? Okay, sorry, I don't want to interrupt you because this is again where everything runs on a scale. There's this self-preservation part of you that's like, oh, I might get hurt. Therefore, you're a different voice that you think is part of a different voice that you think of as being part of your inner critic is like, oh, you're not going to succeed at skydiving. Don't ever try it. Oh no, skydiving's stupid. You're stupid for wanting to do skydiving, and that's a self-preservation thing.
And there's both in there because there's a seed of truth. Most of the things we tell ourselves have a seed of truth, either a truth in our insecurities or our beliefs about ourselves, or a seed of actual truth. Peggy's example is a good one because if you're like actually afraid of heights, then of course you're going to say that's stupid. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it's a good idea to jump out of an airplane with a
parachute.
I'm
not going to go skydiving just to shut up my inner critic. My inner critic can still stay in its. But
what if you have things in your past two things that your inner critic uses a lot?
Exactly.
Paper Queen, the reason I have specific mantras is because my inner critic often uses the same stuff. And those things are things that were embedded in me growing up, things that I've became really deeply held beliefs about myself. And so because it's repetitive, I use specific and conscious mantras of the opposite. And that's been helpful for me to like embed a new idea. I was going to ask you to tell people what you made me do when we were just getting together. So Peggy did a lot of this. I
used to get you to do writing exercises.
Yeah, she helped me really kick off my journal.
I would like think of a topic and then she would write about it and then we would discuss it, talk about it later or not, depending on what it was. I would for a while there we would write things. I would like write this down, put it on the wall, and she'd tape it to the wall, and then look them over every morning.
Yeah, they were like sticky notes that had like self-empowering phrases that you had me put all over the bedroom wall. And this was after we'd had an argument where I think I literally was just nonstop self-deprecation or something. And she was like, okay, enough. Like, write all this stuff down.
We had a silly argument about something. Yeah. And you were literally trying to make it up to me for days. And it's like, whoa. I don't need, no, this is wrong.
I used to deal with stuff like this by groveling and just self-deprecating and feeling horrible about myself. That's what I learned.
You were in an environment where you were rewarded for that stuff. So your inner critic just had free reign.
Mine was a heyday, running rampant all over my life.
But you know what? It can be more subtle than that. This is something that happened when I was growing up.
Thank you.
My sister was the straight A student of the family, and I didn't like school. So that's the thing. So basically, one day my mom says, I don't know why you don't try to be more like your sister. She gets really good grades, and you should do this, and you should do that, and you should get good grades. It's like, okay, I get it. Good grades are important, blah, 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 blah. I need to graduate high school, do the thing. So I started buckling down, getting good grades. I bring home some good grades, and it's like, why are you trying so hard to be like your sister? You should just be yourself.
God, her mother just makes me angry. And
It was
I
like-
get angry at my mom too.
No,
but
so
like hers
so
is-
my mother was the outer critic that reinforced that
Your
and
mom's stuff was not subtle. It was like very in your face. So it was very.
she thought she was subtle.
Good point. Okay,
She
fair.
thought she was subtle.
Fair.
But the thing is that your inner critic does the exact same thing. It's like, oh, I'm not getting good grades. I should try harder. So you try harder and get good grades.
And your
it's
inner
like,
critic
why?
still is like.
It's like, why are you trying so hard? You're just a fraud. It doesn't matter what your grades are. You
There's
still
no
suck.
winning.
It's like
there's no winning
winning
with your inner critic, and this is an important thing. Your inner critic is never going to congratulate you or say well done or whatever. Your inner critic is always going to have something negative to say because it's your inner. It's that part of you that feels insecure that doesn't
Time
feel
to a
worthy.
chair, Lulu. He'll talk.
I would like to be able to do stuff like that with my hubby, but he never ever talks like that. He just lets me talk. You know, different people have different conversation skills. This is why I'm such a huge fan of journaling, because I spent almost 10 years in a relationship where I couldn't talk about any of this stuff. It just wasn't, my partner wasn't capable of having those conversations. And not necessarily for lack of desire. I'm not going to
Oh,
say
bye,
that.
Artsy Paper Queen.
Oh, bye,
See you
Artsy
tomorrow.
Paper Queen.
Well, I guess you'll see us tomorrow.
But
We'll
so
be thinking of you.
I started journaling as a way to process my feelings without needing feedback from somebody else, because then you can read it back and you learn a lot about yourself. Like Peggy, I would tell this to her all the time. If I'm actively angry, if I start writing, I will write out all of that anger. And as I'm in the process of writing, I can usually figure out what the heck is going on just by putting it down on paper or on the computer. I do my writing online mostly, but as I'm writing, I can usually figure out what's happening. And that really, really helps. So if you haven't, if you need a sounding board, definitely have a journal practice. It helps a lot. And I'm sorry, honey.
No, I was just reading what Lulu said. He just thinks I am right all the time and avoids any conversations like that. That can actually sometimes be hard, because if there's something that you're going, I think I need to work on this, but the person in your life is like, no, I want you to be happy, so I'm going to tell you whatever you want to hear.
That was my ex.
It's hard to do. There's
Sometimes you need people to call you on your crap. I think that's why I like tarot.
Well, it's
because
not
tarot
even
can help you call you out. Or
It's
help
not-
you see truth.
It's not even call you on your crap. Sometimes you just need to explore things to see where you personally stand, because you can personally stand, oh, this is problematic for me, but it's okay. Like you're a little OCD in dealing with stuff. And remember how we talked about
You're
putting your
using
power...
OCD the way I don't like to use it, though. But I'm a little bit
Oh,
particular.
CDO.
I'm
That's the right order.
No, stop making fun of OCD. I am particular.
We
That's
make
what
it-
she means to say.
Yes. We joke about her being... We joke about Lisa being OCD, but
Which bugs me because
it's not... She's not OCD.
Yeah,
there's
so we don't like
always-
to joke about that.
Okay, but no.
Moving on.
You're very detailed on how you do certain things.
I'm particular.
Yes. It's okay. It's not an insult. And we joke around because we're a little bit more chaotic around the house because 3 adults in the same house. So exactly.
I know.
So obviously with 3 adults sharing the same house, me, Lisa, and Steve, it's a lot more chaotic around the house. So it's like
when they leave
can't-
the frickin' margarine on the counter.
Hi.
Who leaves the margarine?
you cannot be this hyper organized at home, but why don't you turn that power to good instead of evil by really doubling down at work where she's working.
I talked about this in Tarot Memoirs in the Emperor
Yeah,
card.
you're working
using my powers for good, not evil.
Right, because you're working in an environment. You're working more in an
I still hate
environment.
when they leave the margarine on the counter.
You're working in an environment though where being hyper organized is really a huge advantage.
Yeah, I'm awesome at work.
And then it's like, okay, so shake it off when you get home.
Oh, Simon says, the inner critic is based on fear, usually a failure. Fear is natural and has helped us to survive as a species. However, when it tips over to self-deprecating, that's when we have to fine-tune. Totally agree.
This is what I'm saying about it being on a range. And
yeah, it's kind of, there's like this subtle balance between listening to your actual instincts, which is where, to me, it's like inner voice to inner critic is a spectrum. When it's in the helpful side, it's being an inner voice and it's telling you the truth. But when it's over here based on insecurity, it's lying to you and it's messing you up. So it's like you want to move things over to the helpful side and let the helpful side do more of the driving.
And no matter how healthy and balanced you are or feel you are, there's always going to be some small area where it's going to be nudging against that line of being unhelpful or problematic.
Totally.
Always. Even if it's one or two little tiny things. So knowing where the helpful and the unhelpful divides and keeping the right things on the right side of that line is like, that's the challenge.
Carolyn says, we see ourselves differently than others see us. I saw this being a hairdresser. I'd seen the same sex people in store every day, came in with a wig on 7 inches longer, had to show it was a wig. So it made her realize that what we think we see on ourselves, we are so critical of people really don't notice. Yeah, the things that we pick on ourselves about are not necessarily things that other people would ever think about us. It's like our own insecurities are not often based on reality. They're based on the things, like Simon said, that we're afraid of.
Yeah, well, and you know what though, and it's
Yes, thank you, Kay. Yeah, Kay. So this is what I was saying before. Kay says, I'm OCD, not Howard Hughes OCD, but well managed. It was a long road. Feels good when I feel comfortable to tell people. I trust you, my new friends. Oh,
well, thank you, Kay.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
this is what I mean. Sometimes we use OCD casually in society.
Yeah.
I try not to do that because I am very particular and very specific.
And we try to be very aware of it. We like Shayla has our dog, and I know I'm segueing completely over. Like, I jokingly call Shayla our eating disorder dog, because we got her as a rescue, and whatever was going on with her before we got her, she became acclimated to skipping meals. If we're not feeding,
she has issues around food. She easily gives up food to other people, other dogs, etc. Yeah.
So the thing is, I joke. She doesn't have an actual. She's a dog. She doesn't have an actual. She has some eating challenges, not an. But I try to be very aware of where I'm using a small little snapshot as an example versus a larger condition.
I think there's an interesting point
because we joke around about you being OCD, but it's very specific to very specific things.
I will say I do want to say one thing though. Part of the reason that happens in our household, anyways, is that Peggy and I both have this sort of solid belief that everybody is on a mental health spectrum, and so whether you have something or you lean in a direction towards something. We kind of both agree about that. That's kind of our personally held belief, is that we just think that, yeah, you can be on that spectrum and not be diagnosed, but it doesn't mean that do you know what I mean? Am I saying it right?
Well,
you express it better, but we both share that belief. Yeah, thank you, Simon. I was like, am I making sense? So it's kind of like having times where you are depressed. It doesn't mean that you have chronic depression, but you may go through periods of actual depression. But you might have OCD or compulsive tendencies without being diagnosed OCD.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you have.
I hope I said that right.
You have tendencies in certain areas of your life, and it's not, and you're fine. But people that have outright OCD, they need more support.
Absolutely.
Because that's a different place on the
There was another one we had talked about. Anxiety. I get anxiety. That doesn't mean that I have an anxiety disorder. Yes. But yes, thank you, Simon.
It all shifts,
and it can vary based on what's going on in our lives too, right? So
exactly.
Peggy and I have both been through periods in our lives where we were on antidepressants. And for both of us, it was periodic.
For me, it was a situation that comes with a story, though, because for me, it's a situational thing that my doctor should have never suggested meds at all.
Oh, okay, yeah. Mine was I was really struggling, and I was in the States at the time with no health insurance, and so they gave me samples, I think 6 weeks or something. By the time the samples ran out, because I couldn't afford prescriptions back then.
Yeah, because you had a short-term situation,
But by the time that ran out, I was feeling more stable, and I was fine. But, so I think demystifying some of this stuff is helpful, because I think a lot of us struggle at different levels with so much of this.
Well, and I think also, again, we never get to talk about this stuff in a way that feels positive. Ever.
There's not a lot of environments for that. No, I agree.
Okay,
totally. Hi, Alice.
Like, if I could use you for a moment, Marge, you just stated blankly, I'm a recovering hoarder with OCD. It's like how, and Kay just mentioned OCD.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's a couple of other people in here that have mentioned that they've had mental health issues that they've had to resolve at various points during various chats. I'm not talking about anybody else in here right now. And the reality is that you're supposed to go, oh, I feel really bad. This is horrible. This is horrible. This is horrible. You're not allowed to say, yeah, I feel pretty damn good about myself, and this is the one thing I have to deal with.
Yeah, it's not.
You're not.
We're not taught how to talk about difficult topics.
Hi,
Darpan. We're not.
Yeah, it took others to notice your depression, kept refusing to admit it.
Simon makes a good point too. There's so much stigma around this stuff that people don't want to say. Nobody wants to say I'm depressed because of the stigma. If there was no stigma around depression, we would be quicker to say, "Hey, I'm struggling." But there is stigma, and things are starting to change.
Well, here's the thing: you can be OCD, which is the one that's been mentioned the most in the last few minutes. You can be OCD. So this is an issue that you're dealing with, and be perfectly happy about other things in your life, but we don't allow that.
And
we don't allow for that, which is.
Kay did say that OCD can make the inner critic way harder, and I will definitely agree. If you deal with compulsive thoughts, and some of us deal with this on a mild level, and then some of us deal with this on a more clinical level, but compulsive thoughts is like recurring thoughts, things that you have a hard time letting go of. They just keep coming back. I had a very good friend in high school that had undiagnosed OCD, and she had really horrible compulsive thoughts that spiraled out of control for her all the time.
Yeah.
If you have that going on top of just trying to work on yourself
depression
and so
lies
forth,
to you.
You're going to have a more complicated route to figuring a lot of this stuff out. And it gets a lot harder to untangle, for sure.
Yeah, see, yeah, we're all afraid that people are going to think we're crazy.
Thank
See,
you,
and then,
Lulu. That's an excellent
and it's
point.
like, I don't give a shit if people think I'm crazy.
Like if
Which is very liberating.
it would be nice to be able to say I'm probably a little bit OCD and I'm probably a little bit ADD and I'm probably a little bit this and a little bit that, because it's a spectrum and I can be in different spots on that spectrum
and still be a.
And it doesn't matter where you are. I think self-awareness is powerful, whether you have a mental health illness or whether you just are being...
and I think, but see, I think this is also part of the problem, is because the inner critic does, at its extreme end, and I'm not going to define where that extreme end is for each individual person, because for some people that extreme end is here, and for others it's not extreme until it's way the hell over here.
Exactly.
So the inner critic starts taking over, and it is very not helpful, but
we all have an inner critic. I really believe that.
We all have an inner critic.
Like yours might be tied up, but mine's not.
But once the inner critic,
a bratty 3-year-old. It's my inner critic, a bratty 3-year-old.
But we're not really allowed to say. Once it starts spilling over into mental health issues, that's stigma. So we're not allowed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Because it's the inner critic and could lead to mental health issues. Most of us are not necessarily comfortable even talk. Oh, I really hate the way I look and blah blah blah. We're not allowed to talk about that because it's automatically assumed that we're spilling into mental health issues.
But that's because of the stigma. Because we don't want to be seen as somebody with a mental health issue, so we are afraid to even talk about it at all, lest we be bundled in. And this is a huge topic.
Well, no, you know what? Most of these topics get huge. Most of these topics get huge because they become this this juggernaut that self-perpetuates itself and makes itself bigger. And it's like, we all have our inner critic over some things some of the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all do.
My inner critic always pokes right for the really sensitive spots, like the spots that relate deeply to my self-worth.
Okay.
Susan says, my inner critic is all about perfection and never allowed me to be a failure. And this obviously applied to having mental health disorders. Meanwhile, I've been struggling since a very young age. Satya, I have issues with anxiety, general and social. I also have had several severe panic attacks and agoraphobia at various times.
Yeah, I went through a stage where I was having anxiety. Yep.
K, I'm in treatment and always will be. I had to accept that, which made me relax more. One thing that really upsets me is when people say it's mind over matter. Oh yeah, see, that's crap. People are like, oh, just if you concentrate on feeling better, you'll feel better. It's like, that doesn't always work that way. When you've got chemical changes in your brain, when you have different things going on, it's not a matter of will.
Well, it's a range.
People say the same thing about other things that are problematic. Because, oh, if you just had willpower, this would change for you. And it's like, that's not real life. That's not how it works.
And that becomes this,
that's stigma.
And that's where the juggernaut takes over, and suddenly this voice is getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, where just saying, oh yeah, this part's normal.
Can you imagine what all of our lives would look like if going to therapy was seen as a something that strong people do? This is actually just a really interesting thought. Like if going to therapy, or if taking medication, or if doing the things you need to do to be mentally well, whether that's a journal practice or whether that's seeing a professional, anything along that range, if that was seen as something strong people do, we would all have so much less stigma. And the funny thing is, it is what strong people do. Strong people look at themselves, work on themselves. They turn to self-awareness. They consciously improve their lives. That's what strong people do. But we associate getting help with anything with weakness.
You know what though?
Which is crap.
I think
it makes me mad.
I think
Damn it.
I think of myself as a strong person. I think of myself as somebody who's constantly trying to improve, grow, evolve. I see myself as those things, and people look at me and go, see, you're fine. And it's like, and I am. I do believe that I'm fine because I'm doing the things that keep me fine.
But that's exactly the point. But you're not afraid to lean into the tools or to the resources around you to be fine. That's what makes the difference.
Yeah, like, I mean, I've never gone to therapy because I've never felt the need, but if I ever felt the need, I'd fucking go. Yeah. And I wouldn't be ashamed to talk about it or admit it.
Exactly, Laura. It takes strength to lean into the resources and tools around you so that you can live your most fulfilled life, your best life.
I mean, I've been lucky. Whatever scale I'm landing on, the self-awareness, the whatever, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm whatever, but I don't pretend that I haven't had to think through things, work things out. I don't pretend that this shit doesn't exist.
This is why there's so much power and vulnerability. And Vegan Crafter says something I just want to address. She says, I have a few mental health diagnoses.
In a good way.
Okay, so sorry. I have a few mental health diagnoses, and I'm so glad when someone else says they do too. I wish more people talked about it so we wouldn't feel broken. I want to say this. Feeling broken is something I really, really relate to. It's literally why I have a mantra, I am whole and I am unbroken. Because broken implies that there's something about us that is apart, is separated, is not, it's permanent. The word broken is a permanent word. As opposed to, I've got stuff I need to work on. I have stuff that I'm improving. I'm on a personal growth path, which is why I use that all the time.
Everybody has stuff that they need to work on, no matter how strong or weak they seem to be, feel themselves to be, whatever.
Totally agree.
Everybody has something they need to work on. Some people need more help than others, and that is the end of it. That is the nutshell version. It's like, and yeah, some people, more help than others. Some people need counseling. Some people need medication. Some people, I'm lucky, but I'm not better. I'm not better than anybody else because I was able to work out most of my crap.
Agree.
I worked out my crap without counseling. I'm lucky. I'm not better.
And Alice, that's tough when you're dealing with something and somebody's telling you, oh, it's all in your head. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's
My husband told me that.
Ex-husband.
My ex-husband.
Very ex-husband. She's married to me now.
As I was telling him that I was leaving, he's going, we don't have any problems. This is all in your head. It's like, that's why
Simon,
I'm leaving.
I totally agree. I made this point in a recent live chat, one of these Self-Worth Saturdays. I said, I find it really interesting. The reason this topic is so relevant to us who are in the tarot community is because so many of us are drawn to tarot because we want to lean into tools. We want to work on ourselves. And healing. We're into self-discovery. We geek out on personal improvement. We geek out on shadow stuff and diving into things and making ourselves better. Yes, all the way. Yes, I totally agree.
It is,
and yes, we are, Marge.
It is my pet theory. This is a double-edged sword. A lot of people who don't know anything about tarot, mysticism, paganism, spirituality, assume that people are getting into it because they have mental health issues. I'll just use the generic terms because, oh, you're crazy to do tarot. And it's like, and that's absolutely not the case. But a lot of people who become interested in those things become interested because they are they're not trying to, you're not trying to fix yourself. I'm not sure that I could, and again, this is about
it's words like fix that are problematic.
This is about
broken.
This
fix.
is about living in a society where the words that we need to be using don't even exist.
They're not in our vocabulary.
But the thing is that most people who are drawn to paganism, spirituality, tarot, most of us who are drawn to those things are drawn to those things because we're at a point in our life where we're trying to engage in self-discovery, self-improvement, and be the better version of ourselves.
Totally.
That is a mental health journey.
Absolutely, it is.
That is a mental health journey. So if we have underlying things in our life, they come to the surface. That's wrong. Again, if somebody has a better way to express it, please, for the love of God, or whoever God or goddess you believe in. But
I love you.
We don't find our way into these communities because we are crazy. The crazy comes out because it's part of the mental health, the self-discovery, the spiritual growth, because you cannot grow unless you're addressing the things that are holding you back. So if you have a generalized situation that you're not addressing, and you're suddenly doing tarot, meditating, whatever, you're going to figure out that you've got something that you need to figure out.
Stuff will rise to the surface. I have to because I geek out on this, but I just wanted to tell Marge, I was actually living in the States and Peggy was in Canada, so we actually technically had our big ceremony on U.S. soil. Oh, because we had it at a park. We had it at a park that was on the border. So we had our main ceremony, which was not legal at all, on the U.S. side because my family came, and then we walked 100 feet to Canadian soil and had a marriage commissioner meet us on Canadian soil so we could get our legal wedding done. So we had 2 weddings in the span of a couple of hours.
Yeah.
A short legal ceremony after our big flowery ceremony or whatever.
Yeah.
So we managed to make it work. It's legal in the States now, I believe.
It is. But if anybody ever tells you you're crazy, just it's like you're not.
I thought you were going to say smack them because that's probably
no. If anybody ever says, "Oh, you're crazy because you do tarot," it's like, no, tarot and all that stuff is what's helped me resolve the crazy.
Yeah.
But it's
okay. That is such a good point, and you are so right. There are a list of fantastic qualities in the DMO. Yeah, totally.
DMO.
It's like the diagnostic I forget what it stands for, but it's basically the mental illness thing that says what all the criteria are for different mental illnesses.
Exactly.
Thank you. Simon, you're awesome.
Back in the day, they would say you were eccentric.
Eccentric?
eccentric, I think it's a
You
pronunciation.
say eccentric.
I say eccentric. I
She's
think
such
it's
a weird Canadian.
no.
Says
I
stuff
think it's
weird.
a well. There's basically in Canada we have the triple. We have a trifecta here. We have British pronunciations. We have American
And
pronunciations. We have Quebecois French pronunciations. Oh, so we got 4. We got a quadra going.
Wait, what are the 4? You have...
We have British pronunciation followed us during our colonization period. We have American pronunciations,
Which, of course, comes up.
up from the States.
Yeah.
We have Quebecois French pronunciations because, of course, when a French person is speaking English, they
And then
use
there's Newfoundland.
well, they're a whole different entity. But then we have our generalized Canadian pronunciations that are also. So we have 4 different ways of pronouncing. There are
DSM.
there are some words that we have literally a dozen ways of pronouncing it that are all in use up here. Anyway.
Yeah, it's so true.
You say aunt, not aunt.
Quarters are after the hair pickers. I don't understand.
Oh, there's a condition where people like pick at their hair all the time, or pick at their fingers.
That's similar. I do that.
She picks at her fingers all the time. Say.
I've gotten a little better, but wintertime is hard.
But the thing is,
that's why I fidget.
I mean, anybody who's gone through any counseling or self-discovery has to one degree or another. And again, I'm intentionally generalizing because obviously it's good.
We're good.
Anybody who's gone through any sort of
monkeys, just like cake.
Anybody who's gone through any sort of self-discovery process, either on their own or through counseling, has learned that inner critic is probably our single worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one that often is probably more French. Often. OFFEN.
What about the word?
Often.
What about the word DECAL? How do you say that?
Decal.
Okay, so me too. But when I was working with some other people from different parts of Canada,
they call it decal.
Decal, and I was like, why would you call it decal? It's the weirdest pronunciation I've ever heard. Yep.
Yeah.
Trichotillomania. Yeah, mania. Trichotillomania. I think I looked that up at one point because I was looking up the habit of like nail biting and stuff.
Yeah, I got a cousin who's like,
yeah.
But. No, the thing is that
totally interrupted my rant on decal.
No, you're fine. No, but we're on a rant about the inner critic,
today.
And it's not.
Bless you for keeping us on topic with me.
I
don't know how you're managing.
She's such a squirrel. No, but the thing is that there's this voice, and it's about like you have there's a part of you that has no choice but to acknowledge that there is part of the voice that is trying with various degrees of success to be reasonable and rational. And again, that blue shirt isn't good for a job interview, you should go change. Okay, that's a criticism, that's the inner critic. Canucks in the house.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's what I was thinking about.
Canuckians. I'm a Canuckian.
Canuckian?
Have you ever heard that?
No.
A Canadian lesbian is Canuckian.
Oh, I didn't know it's a lesbian. I can't even speak.
Canuckian. I
didn't know there was a lesbian Canadian mashup. I've heard Canuckian, but not Canuckbian. Well, that's hilarious.
That's
Why?
Apparently, there's a joke for that.
We were a true U-Haul couple too, y'all, and that's a stereotype. We were the stereotype.
Right. Yeah. No, it wouldn't have been funny when you're going through it.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
But there should be a party. There should be a party that stands up and goes, "Yeah, I have this thing," and everybody's going, "Oh shit, that's too bad. Hey, do you need a ride?" Like,
it shouldn't.
It should not be this. It should not be this. Oh my God, really, Kay? Really?
Like, is it catching?
Really? Like,
is it? What's the word I was looking for?
A lot
contagious. Yeah. That's
okay, Satya.
Watch back
we'll
later.
See you later.
Take care.
A lot of people whose mental health conditions go into an extreme.
Pansexual, panromantic.
Canadian.
I like Canadian.
Canadian is good.
It sounds a little bit like Panago, but
Panromantic
cool.
and Canadian. Yeah,
or
Canadian.
Panradian or Panrodian.
No, I think Canadian's best.
Canadian's best.
That's fine.
I'm really thinking about this now.
No, I think taking the stigma out of this. I know that not everybody's going to agree with this, but I will tell you right now, if we were to find a way to take the stigma completely away from mental health disorders, and again, the wording doesn't exist, so please just take this in the best possible way. If we were to completely just mystify, so it's like, oh, you get anxiety? Oh, okay. Yeah, I do sometimes too. Okay, yeah, let's go have coffee. If we were to make it so that people don't have to feel guilty or ashamed for having these issues, most people in the more moderate scales would have either a significant improvement or their mental health issue outlook but there would be a dramatic change.
Yeah, that's true. I want to answer this question actually. So Becky Beetle says, and I've got a really strong thought on this. She says, sorry if you've already covered it and missed it, but how do you distinguish between your inner critic and your higher self? This is how I do it. My inner critic is usually trying.
See, there's another term that we.
Hold on.
I love you.
I love you. My inner critic is usually trying to stop me from something. Stop me from something I want. Stop me from something I would ideally like to go after. Stop me from being relaxed. Stop me from being myself. Whereas my higher self is usually encouraging me to grow, encouraging me to work on things, maybe encouraging me to take healthy risks, encouraging me to take chances, reminding me that I'm worthy. My higher self has my best interests at heart. My inner critic is trying to shut me down and shut me up usually. That's my experience. It might look a little different for you, but that's usually how I can tell. If I'm trying to stop myself or shut myself down or shut myself up, I usually can identify, if I'm on my game, I can usually identify that that's my inner critic. Whereas my higher self is an encouraging voice, it feels like a true voice, telling me things that are helpful, not harmful, even if it's calling me out. It's saying, okay, you're letting your shadow self take over, whatever. It can be criticizing, but in a constructive way.
Yeah.
We talked about this with Peggy. She's like, my inner critic tells me, oh, that shirt maybe doesn't look great on you. That's a little different. If it's being constructive, to me,
yeah,
it's
but
more like
that's part of the range. That's part of this range that I was referring to.
Totally.
Your inner critic is usually your inner critic. If you have a chance, if you take the time to act, why do I think I'm horrendously ugly? Oh, gee, that's obviously my inner critic because you've got no reason to think of yourself in those kinds of negative terms.
Yeah.
So your higher self goes, I don't give a shit what other people think of my looks. I'm happy with who I am, what I am, and how I look.
Yeah.
That's your higher self.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I want to like.
Oh yeah, sorry, I know I derailed you a little bit, but
no, yeah, I just want. This is the thing. We don't have. This is back to my pet peeve that we do not have a clear language that describes or discusses these things. So when you say a thing, you can end up coming across so incredibly wrong when you don't mean to. But I do know that I've known people who had an issue going on in their life, and once they found out that other people had the same issue, they suddenly felt way more normal, and their issue was able to be resolved without the extreme action that they would have otherwise maybe ended up having to take.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you take away the stigma, you take it okay, you and I. Lisa and I have gone into a place, Lisa and I have gone into Costco, which can be incredibly crazy, crowded, and she's like, I'm not liking these crowds right now, and I'm feeling claustrophobic, and it's like, oh, okay, we can go home and come back later.
I legitimately get claustrophobic feeling in crowded spaces.
Because I can go back on my own if I need, and this is
real life.
I stopped, it's like, I don't see any reason why she should feel bad or guilty for that. She used to try and tough it out.
All the time, and then I would get bitchier and bitchier.
I have, other people aren't claustrophobic in spaces like this. I shouldn't be either.
I thought claustrophobia was just being in small, confined physical spaces, not being around too many people.
Because you'd never had a non-stigmatizing confrontation about it. Conversation, sorry. So the thing is, okay, so we would go into a place like Costco. She's like this. She's like, okay, honey, what are we gonna get now? What are we gonna get now? And it's crushing my arm. And I'm like, so finally we just kind of had it out one day. It's kind of, it wasn't as confrontational as it sounds like. What's going on? What's wrong with you? And she's like, I'm feeling really claustrophobic. I know I'm not supposed to because we're in a big warehouse. It's like, you can feel claustrophobic whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Let's go home. And so we went home. We talked about it, and it's like, I can go on my own later. I can.
Hi, Papa.
You can sit in the car and play on your phone while I go in. We can come back at a different time of day and hope that it's less busy. You can give me a list to make sure. And
typically, one of the easiest things I'll do sometimes is I'll even just say, like, okay, somebody else needs to push the cart, because then I can dart around the corner or get away if there's a crowd.
Yeah,
and I need
but
to
that's
move.
that's the logistics. The
Sorry,
reality
that's details.
That's the details. The reality is, though, is that at no point did I tell her that there was that. I mean, it's inconvenient. That is a truth. It's not but it's not a personal criticism. It's like, oh, that's inconvenient, but we'll go home. There's no point in putting you through this if it's not comfortable for you. Let's just head home, and I can come back later, or I'll grab one of the boys, or
but because
Or, well, we really, really need this thing. You can go wait in the car if you'd like.
But because we had the conversation, we were able to we were able to talk about stuff like even just choosing a slightly different grocery store where the aisles are wider or where it's less crowded. We can actually have a conversation about how to make it work because we're able to talk about it.
But we can also like, oh, this isn't working for you. Park the cart. We can leave. And we've never had to do that because and
I've always had the ability to say something. That's what makes the difference.
But your claustrophobia in these kinds of places literally resolved itself. Kind of. This is
I'm curious where you're going with this because I might argue with you. We'll see.
No. It's like she still gets the claustrophobia, and I don't tell her that there's a problem with that. But now we have so many things in place that it's like, okay, yeah, this is too crowded. It's not going to work. Okay, we can go home.
And she knows in a second what I mean.
So
I always have an out, and so I never have to suffer with it, if that makes sense.
I'm never going to... We tease you because we're horrible people that way. No,
you're horrible.
We only tease her when she's in the mood to handle it. It's fine.
Most of the time, and then when you're not, I tell you.
The thing is that a lot of times when you're feeling claustrophobic, it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel really claustrophobic. Now, we were just in the store last week, and you said, oh, I'm feeling really claustrophobic. It's like, okay, we need this. We have to get this, and this. Are you okay long enough for us to do those things? Sure. And it's like, oh, yeah, I can handle that. And if I can't, I'm just going to go wait in the car. Is that going to work for you? It's like, yeah, absolutely. I have my wallet. We're good. And she was fine.
You're right, Amy, though.
A lot of so basically,
it's okay.
The claustrophobia is here, and the anxiety around the claustrophobia is here. We took away the anxiety, and the claustrophobia was easier to deal with.
Really good point.
Because we, on a personal level, destigmatized this together.
What advice would you give people who have partners or who have people in their lives who are not as good at the communication piece as you just demonstrated you are? Like, what would your advice be to people who don't have that support necessarily?
Well, I'm not sure.
I'm just curious.
I would say...
Could you take away some of the anxiety for yourself? Like, what could you do for yourself?
Yeah, concerts or events with lots of people in the metro, etc. Sometimes okay, sometimes not so much. It's always good to have a plan on how to deal.
Yes, that's maybe the really good advice.
So basically, you just look at your ex and you say, okay...
Did you just say your ex?
Your ex, I'm sorry.
Oh my god! Peggy's already divorcing half of you in the room because your partners are clearly not good enough for you. I'm just kidding. I'm very blunt today. I'm gonna sip coffee now.
You sip coffee. You're just being
You all deserve wonderful support.
This is why I'm mean to her. Anyway, I haven't said that in a while.
It's okay. Sorry, back to advice.
You just gotta be blunt, and this goes back to what was your other one about standing up for yourself?
That was last week. Literally, it was about sometimes you have to say this is what I need.
Like, okay, if you're
advocate for yourself. That's a good word. Advocate for your needs. Advocate for what you
advocate for you
deserve.
And it doesn't have to be a confrontation. It's like, yeah, I'm having that kind of
true, Simon.
So if you're married to somebody and they're really, really close to you in your life, there's a chance that they probably have a pretty good idea of stuff. They just don't understand what you need.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just, oh, you always get anxious when we go out. You always get anxious when we go out. And it's like, okay, well, what can we do to make sure that if I get anxious, I can deal with it without having to freak the fuck out?
You know what Peggy made me do? And this was so uncomfortable in the beginning, but I think this is actually really helpful. And it's not where we tend to go. When we were first new together, I wanted her, when I was anxious about stuff, to tell me, it's fine, everything will be okay. She flippin' refused to do that no matter what, because here's what her strategy was instead, and I grew to appreciate this over time and now really appreciate it, but
I was an asshole.
It was bad. But okay, so anyways, let me give you a tangible example. We're literally talking about changing our entire lives and like moving to Vancouver, and we're getting married and there's kids involved and we're planning all this stuff, and she's like, okay, so what happens if we break up? And I'm like, excuse me? Why are we having this conversation? Is there something you need to tell me? Like, it was this horrible, like, traumatic thing. Not really, but it was upsetting at the time.
You cried.
I did cry.
She cried over everything back then.
But I did cry a lot back then. But hold on. So that happens, and what she needed to do is say, okay, we need to have a really blunt conversation so that we're all going into this with open eyes. If we don't work out, and we of course want to work out, and hopefully everything will be fine.
We did,
thank God.
Well, you missed that one.
You said for now. Don't be a jerk. I'm telling the story. Okay, so she made us look at all the things that could go wrong and discuss what would we do if this happened, that happened, or this happened.
But don't forget.
And wait, hold on. And how would we feel? And because we talked about all of that stuff, as uncomfortable as it was to imagine what would happen if we didn't work out, talking about that stuff made both of us confident about this move, that we would both be okay with the decision regardless of how things went. And so we had these kinds of conversations, and that's a big scale. Hold on, I'm not done.
Oh, I'm
no. And, and
Almost
then,
gotcha.
in a smaller scale, what she's taught me is that when we look at what could go wrong and we discuss our backup plans, our contingency plans, what would we do if XYZ happens?
And we want Liggy forever.
She freaking did this to me this morning.
I'm too old to leave. It's fine.
So this is actually relevant because this literally happened this morning and I was cranky about it this morning.
What did I do?
I'll tell you. Don't worry. It's fine.
What did I do?
I'm going to tell the internet and then I'll tell you.
Oh my God.
So basically, my car is broken down. I'm supposed to drive down to Seattle weekend after next, actually midweek after, so a week from Wednesday night. I'm supposed to drive down to see my sister. We're going to the Northwest Tarot Symposium. I'm ridiculously excited for this particular road trip.
And our car won't start.
And our car didn't start. So Peggy's like, well, worst case scenario, you take a quick shuttle or you take the train or you do whatever. And I'm like, but the car will be fine. The car will be fine. We'll work it out. The car will be fine.
Oh yeah, she's getting like all wound up.
And I'm getting grumpy because I'm like, dang it, manifest that the car will be fine. And she's like, yeah, but if it's not, you can still go. She was actually being reassuring. She was just like, hey, we've got this as a backup plan. And I was like, but I don't want to think about the backup plan. I just want everything to go according to my plan. And teaching me to do that, as uncomfortable as it often is in the moment, because I want to think best case scenario, sometimes the tool is thinking, like with the grocery store, what happens if you get claustrophobic? Oh, we can do this, this, or this. And it takes away the anxiety.
Yes.
I don't have to worry that I don't get to go on my trip because we have a backup plan. So I don't
We've
need to
already
be
sorted out-
stressed with the
What's the
with
worst
car.
case scenario? Oh, that ain't so bad. Okay, so
Sorry, I tangent.
I'm gonna no. I'm gonna tangent town right into agoraphobia. Now that is, believe it or not, amazingly common, and most people that
I
deal with
actually
it
really agree
won't
with that.
admit it.
Yeah, I
And
agree
why?
with that.
Now I'm not gonna judge your personal situation. And again, I feel
You
like
don't be judging anybody. I will
no,
punch
I'm
you.
not. I have. Do you ever find yourself?
Punch her on camera.
Do you ever find yourself? Do you ever find yourself trying to explain how you think or feel about something, and you feel like you have to start every conversation with, in a general way, not related to your situation?
Asking for a friend.
Asking for a friend. Yeah. So the thing is,
Hi, Kia.
agoraphobia.
I'll get her, Lisa.
You don't want to. You don't want to leave the house. You don't want to go anywhere because you've got these things going on. You've got this anxiety.
Hi,
You've got this
Susan.
claustrophobic. Lisa actually went through a stage where she was pretty much agoraphobic, and she probably doesn't even really realize just how bad it was.
Actually, I don't. So I'm curious to see what you say next. I'm like, I can see that.
Okay.
Maybe.
We were both new to this area. I came out here from Ontario, and then she came up from Seattle, and this is where we chose to settle.
We settled in.
So there's a lot of things to adjust to. There's a lot of claustrophobia to deal with. There's a lot of anxiety.
Everything was unfamiliar.
Everything
Even
was unfamiliar.
stores. I used to get really
Hey, you want to
frustrated.
go for a coffee? Sure, we can find the nearest drive-through.
Yeah,
But
I
I
was actually really
so-
nervous because everything was so new. Even just like knowing where to go for clothes or like knowing where your favorite grocery store was or the brand of grocery store, all of it was brand new.
Yeah.
So it was really overwhelming,
yeah,
actually.
So anyway, so back to agoraphobia as a general thing, and this is just my personal experience, personal observation. I've never really had to deal with agoraphobia for myself because I'm more of a wee adventure. So once people reach a certain stage where it's like, if I'm not around other people, I don't have to deal with my issues. I don't have to find, and the reality is that you're not doing yourself any favors. But again, it depends on where you sit on that scale and what is the actual trigger for your agoraphobia. And I don't want to make assumptions or judgments on that. What I have found dealing with friends and spouses who are feeling agoraphobia. Huh?
Sorry, you have a bruise. I was just wondering if I gave it to you.
Oh no, that was me.
Like-
That was me. I had something on there. I was absentmindedly itching at it to the point where I finally gave myself a bruise.
You itched a bruise on yourself?
Well, because I was like, man, what is that? What is that? What is that? And I was like,
Oh, that's my job.
anyway, I'm babbling. Lisa distracted
I'm
me.
sorry. I'm a squirrel today.
Anyway.
I mentioned.
Honestly, it's like, that's really hot.
And I've been holding it.
My personal suggestion, because I've been on the other side as the supportive person for people dealing with this, is to just tell them what you need. Hey, I really want to go. I really want to do this thing, but I'm probably going to last for 5 minutes and then have to go home. You okay with that?
That is so true. That is a perfect
You don't owe them.
way.
You don't owe them an apology. You
And we
don't-
talked about
now,
this in both people
if you-
pleasing and in standing up for
Yeah,
yourself. About
if-
being assertive.
If you choose to explain, that's your right and that's your option, but you don't owe them an
I have a
explanation.
little like tucky
Oh,
here.
yeah, my eyes have been watering all morning. You don't owe them an explanation. Like I said, you can choose to explain, you can choose to discuss, but you don't owe that to them. So you can just say, yeah, I'm doing this thing right now where I just don't really want to go anywhere, so I'm probably going to be done very, very soon. Are you up for a short trip? find ways to just be blunt about what you need.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be apologetic, because you don't need to apologize for how you're thinking or feeling.
And you don't necessarily need to justify or
And
explain either, which is
think
something
it-
I tend to do sometimes,
think
especially
it-
when I'm feeling insecure about
Think
it.
ahead to your exit plan. Think ahead to your
This
exit
is the
plan.
worst case scenario kind of planning. If I have a panic attack, or if I get anxious, or if XYZ happens,
But you've
what
actually,
can we do to deal with it?
Yeah, but the thing is that if we hadn't dealt with it by just, and I'm not like gonna sit here and go, I'm so special and I'm such the expert. I call our relationship a functional dysfunction, because we just communicate about all the
Functional
things.
dysfunction.
Oh yeah, we communicate to a level that makes other people crazy. Like, oh hey, let's talk about this for 3 hours. That's great.
We process, but the processing is so helpful because that's why
You're getting the benefit of our hours and hours and hours of soul searching and self agonizing, and
true.
it's like,
you have
but
no
yeah, like-
idea how much effort has gone into this.
but that's also how you shut up your inner critic. It's like, I can do this. Screw you. So if my
If you
inner
know that
critic,
you
if
might-
this is what my inner critic is so fucking worried about, then here's what I do to make.
Here's
so
a
yeah,
really tangible
I'd be
example.
honest with my friends and say, I'm only up for a short thing.
Here's a
do the
tangible
things that
example.
You
I
can
wanna-
do
I
the
wanna-
things that you can control until
I
you're ready
wanna-
for the things that
I
you
want to
can't.
say a thing. Here's a tangible example. There's an event up here called the Richmond Night Market. You pay like $5.
You're welcome now. Honestly, reach out to somebody you trust. Reach out to somebody you trust and just go, yeah, I want to go for a coffee, but I'm probably gonna sit there for 5.
I'm a Cancer sun.
okay.
She's a Sagittarius
Go
sun.
out for a coffee. Ask for it in a takeout cup.
So you can leave the moment you want to.
Yeah,
Tangible
that's-
example.
that's-
Wait,
that's-
wait,
but that's a
wait,
tangible
wait.
example.
But I have something to say. And I'm
I
a
love you.
squirrel. You have to let me
I
say
love
it.
you.
Okay, so there's an event up here called the Richmond Night Market that gets insanely crowded.
Oh my God, that
But
was
not
the thing.
always.
She won't go.
I won't go. But a good example
We
of
went
how.
a few times, but it was so stressful for you that we never went back.
But it's only like $5 to get in. There's no reason I couldn't say, hey, why don't we go? But if we go and we've spent the $5 and I need to leave 5 minutes later, are you okay with that? And she can go either, nah, I don't really want to bother unless we can stay. Or she can say, yeah, that's fine. And if she says, no, I don't want to bother, then we just won't go. And if she says, yes, that's fine. Who cares if we've spent the $5? If you get anxious, we'll just leave. No pressure. As soon as you take the pressure off, that stuff feels more doable. It feels like you can,
Oh,
yeah.
can I do,
Take
Marge,
off cups.
Lisa, this is something that we literally did. We would say, oh, blah blah blah, I want to go out for a coffee. Let's go out for a coffee. And it's like, oh, but I don't know if I want to stay, because Lisa, I don't know. It's, oh, it looks really crowded. It looks this, it's that. Ask if you go out for a coffee. Ask for it in a takeout cup.
So that you can leave at any time.
You can sit down at the table. You can sit down at the table. Enjoy your fun. Enjoy your friendship. Enjoy the people that you're with. And it's like, okay, well, I gotta get going now, so I'm gonna head out. And you just leave.
I bring my own travel cups.
And you pick up your coffee and
environment.
you take it with you.
It's an out. She's talking about kind of having an escape plan, particularly. I know that sounds dramatic, but
it's a
having
very-
escape plans for situation takes a lot of pressure and anxiety out of those situations if you're prone to that stuff. At least for us. Oi, you guys. I know we're so ridiculous.
We're crazy. But yeah, and
And hyper.
another thing is, like, if we're in a like
She
some
just took it. It's great.
if we're at the grocery store and things are super freaking crowded, Lisa can literally just turn to me and go, yeah, this is crazy. I'm going to go wait in the car. And off she goes, and I don't care. And she's never actually done it because she knows that she can. When you know for a fact that you have an escape route that comes with no judgment whatsoever, the number of things that you can actually handle goes way up.
And I think sometimes we don't give the people in our lives enough credit for being able to be non-judgmental. So we don't say, hey, I'd like to do XYZ, but are you going to be okay if I need to leave early? But I might need to leave early if I get anxious or whatever. We don't want to say that because we don't always trust that the people in our lives will be non-judgmental. Sometimes we don't even give them a chance to not be to be non-judgmental. Sometimes we're so worried they might judge us that we don't even wait to find out if that's true. And sometimes you might have people in your life that are jerks and that aren't gonna, and then they shouldn't be in your life anymore, but whatever. But sometimes that's true, but a lot of the times I think we just don't want to take the chance on disappointing somebody, see previous about people pleasing.
It always feels like a risk.
Yeah, it always feels like a risk. So sometimes we
But-
just need to give people in our lives more credit for being able to do the thing. It doesn't make it less scary, but if you practice it, it gets easier. Especially when people really are accepting and understanding. Like Elle pointed out, I could just say, hey, yeah, I'll come, but I may have to leave if I panic. And you might be surprised how okay your friends and family will be because they'll be excited that you're able to do more stuff with them and they'll be happy to accommodate. I think in a lot of cases that's true.
Yeah. And
you're cleaning out your fridge. That's awesome, Kay. This is what happened to me when I was watching. I was in my closet putting away laundry and was binge watching Marie Kondo's new show on Netflix. And that was a bad idea. You guys don't do that because if you're watching Marie Kondo while you're actively in your closet, you're gonna get rid of half your stuff, which is exactly what happened. Yeah, but then you came in and then you got rid of half your stuff, so it was great. It was win-win.
Yeah. But no, it's like, but this is also silencing your inner critic. Your inner critic goes, well, you can't go for a coffee. You're gonna fucking panic.
Yeah.
It's like, so your inner, what's the other one? We said, and again, the language doesn't exist, so I can't remember what you said. There's also that voice.
The inner voice versus the inner
well, you
critic.
have to wake up the voice and go, okay, so what's my fucking exit plan?
Yeah.
I can panic, and I don't have to care because I have a way to leave and get away before it gets.
I just realized I did this all on my own. Let me tell you guys. I was trying to explain it to Peggy, and I don't think she quite caught it the other day when I was telling her.
I was probably ignoring you.
Probably. But so Northwest Tarot Symposium coming up. One of the things that I would like to do when I'm there is vlog or like maybe interview a couple people on my channel, do some fun little like lives or whatever. So I would like to do that, but I've never done that. I'm nervous about it. And so what I did was I have filmed I'm telling you guys because you guys are my channel people. You love me. It's fine. But I filmed my Oracle deck collection. I did that, all of it. It's like in 5 parts or something. And I scheduled it to go out while I'm at the conference. Now I did that for 2 reasons. 1, because there'll be no Self-Worth Saturday that weekend. And 2, because there'll be content going up on my channel. So if I decide to do any...
Inner shitbags. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, don't listen to your inner shitbag, okay?
Wait. I tell a story. What? If I decide to... No matter what I decide to do about vlogging, there's no pressure because I've already got stuff going on my channel that weekend.
Oh, right.
So I planned ahead so that I could not put pressure on myself to have to vlog, but so that I could... casually, whenever. I didn't have to worry about timing or when I put up a video or whatever. And it's not that I ever have to put up content on my channel at any time.
You like it.
It's that I like to.
You like doing it.
And it makes me really happy. And so by taking care of making sure there'd be something going up, I took all of the pressure off of myself. I may vlog. I may chicken out. I may be shy. I may not be shy. Yeah,
she's not sure. She wants to vlog while she's there, but she's not sure if she's going to be brave enough, especially if she's like in an area where there's other people around.
Even just weird. I haven't even held up my like tablet to film myself in a public space yet. So I'm just kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be brave or not.
Well, if you give them a couple of weeks, they'll be raisins, and you may not want to wait for that.
Found 3 lonely grapes. I just totally spit.
Found 3 lonely grapes hanging out in the crisper, or are they raisins?
Oh my god, that's amazing. And
They're probably inedible.
Yes, and I'll have my sister there to be my personal cheerleader. I told her to.
But yeah, no, like, but here's the thing. Learning, there's this voice that is trying to look out for you. That
your higher self. Your inner voice. Your inner truth.
It's hard to tell which is which.
It is hard.
Especially if you've already got all those lovely things happening that makes you think that the inner shitbag is the voice of the authority.
This is why my #1 piece of advice is to create space between your inner critic or the voice in your head, whether it's good or bad. Create space. Whatever the thoughts, whatever the thoughts are, if you sit back and you watch the thoughts happen, if you just sit back and watch the thoughts unfold in your mind, if you take the role of the witness, you can have that moment to go, is this a helpful voice or is this my inner critic? You can take that moment to figure it out instead of responding to it. Sorry, did we cut out there for a minute for you, Kay? I think it's okay on our side, but...
I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Are we okay? Are we still here?
I think we are. Let me see.
Are we still here?
Yeah, we're still here. At least on my side.
We're here. Yeah, I'm picking at my ear. My ear's itchy, and I don't know why. I must have maybe I slept funny.
Maybe when we make videos, my nose gets itchy, and then your ear gets itchy.
You know something that I do?
Sorry, guys. I didn't know we cut out. So if we lost anything, we'll repeat because we don't mind talking.
Something that I do. Now, this drives Lisa a little bit crazy, but I do know. I plan for the worst case scenario.
I literally just told that whole freaking story.
I'm sorry.
Remember when we were getting married?
Yeah.
And moving?
But no,
this is not a surprise to anybody in the room. Peggy does plan for the worst case scenario.
But like I said, if your inner critic says, if your inner shitbag says, oh, if you go out for a coffee, you're gonna have a panic attack and have to go home. And you go, well, fuck you. I'm still going out for a coffee.
Or you go, so what if I do?
So I'm out $2 for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and have to go.
Well, okay, I shouldn't do that because for some people that $2 is significant. But,
that's true, yeah.
But the thing is like, okay, so I'm going to, hey, can I have a coffee to go? But I'm going to sit down over there anyway because that's my worst case scenario is that I'm going to get a takeout cup instead of
Peggy makes a good point, and I think this is a really
my
good
worst
strategy.
Case scenario is I go home and I don't finish my coffee. And then I can decide if my worst case scenario is that I'm going to take a few sips and decide that I need to go home. what happened to me that day.
Lulu's making us all spaghetti. I just thought you should know.
Oh, you make a spaghetti, thanks.
Well, I know she's making sauce. I think she said spaghetti sauce. I love spaghetti. It's my favorite thing.
Oh yeah, she loved. Oh my god.
I would have spaghetti every day.
Hey honey, what do you have for dinner? Well, if you can't think of anything else, you can make spaghetti. Hey,
Every
I like
time.
spaghetti.
She's like, what do you want for dinner? I want spaghetti. Thank you for asking. Spaghetti or lasagna?
But I think if you demystify your own process, it's like, oh well, if I, it's like, so if somebody says, hey, come to this party, you go, well, it's like, well, I'm having a day. You don't have to tell them what kind of a day. You don't have to tell them anything. Well, I'm having a day. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay for more than a few minutes.
Thank the goddess for Peggy today, because I would be talking about spaghetti and other random things if you weren't here.
Yeah,
keeping
you
us
would
on
be.
topic. What is my
But,
problem
no,
today?
your worst case scenario.
Ooh, enjoy, Simon.
And this is something else, and I don't know how to express this one. Okay, your worst case scenario is you're gonna come in and go, hey, how's it going? How's it going? Wow, this is really fucking crowded. Okay, well, I just thought I'd stop in and say hi, but I've got to get going. So the worst case scenario is that you may embarrass yourself a little bit, but, and this is the thing, ask yourself, where does that embarrassment? You're embarrassed. You may already be feeling bad or embarrassed because you don't want to go, and then you're not. Oh, I can't go because I have anxiety. Versus, well, I showed up for fun. Which one is worse? And I know that for some people, one's going to be worse than the other. But if the
third option is you just didn't feel like going, and we're looking for a valid excuse, in which case you just say you don't want to go.
Well, and that's the actual inner voice. That is the actual.
And this
thing
is where the discernment gets interesting.
Discernment
and
is actually the bigger issue. But there's so many ways. Not so many, but this is one. Well, no, there are. Like, there's so many ways to form a strategy that puts you into a little bit more control of how this is going to work. But like, even if your worst case scenario turns out to be true, it's like, oh, I did go for a coffee and I had a massive panic attack, so I just turned around and went home and read a book. Suddenly, that panic attack is now a small little blip in an otherwise not so bad day. Versus you spent hours and hours and hours and hours of agonizing, then went and had the panic attack, continued agonizing because you never gave yourself gave yourself an option to feel different.
That's true. I'm literally like a squirrely 5-year-old right now. I cannot focus on anything.
You know why? Because you're PMSing.
You know why else?
Because you're PMSing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. TMI.
I'm hormonal as fuck this week.
Oh my god.
But she brought me a big thing of chocolates, which was very well timed.
It was very well timed.
Very well timed. We're out of chocolate now, though, so maybe not so well timed. Time to go.
See, for us, chips are French fries.
No, for us, chips are not French fries.
Fish and chips. We call it in Canada. They
call it fish and chips in the States either. That's the only time anybody calls it chips, up here or down there. It's with fish.
No, it's
with fish is the only time you ever call French fries chips.
No,
the
it's
only
not.
time. Okay, you have never once in 12 years of marriage ever said chips for anything except when it's with fish. Ever. Not ever.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
Give me one tangible. Oh, I'd like a burger and some chips. No, never.
Frozen chips.
You have never said frozen chips to me in my life. I would have been all over that like a cheap shirt.
No, not a lot.
No, you would never.
It is
Steve!
If somebody says chips in relation to, I'm gonna have a burger and chips or something like that, we automatically assume French fries.
But you don't. Well, you might assume that, but you don't say it. You don't say
sometimes
chips. She doesn't. She's full of crap.
Chips are potato chips. Chips, okay.
Ow! Fight! Fight! Exactly how we fight too.
This is the shit we fight about. Okay.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, potato chips, chips and crisps are one thing, but French fries and chips are.
I know you have this whole UK British background or whatever because you're Canadian, but I'm just saying, and so I know you understand the words, and I understand the words because I hear it too. But I'm just saying you don't say it. I'm so right about this. I'm so right about this. You just have to let me have this one.
We literally have a restaurant around the corner called Sea Lovers Fish and Chips.
Yes, and that's true in the U.S. too. Somebody in the U.S. back me up here. In the U.S. It's always called fish and chips, but that doesn't mean you use chips anywhere else.
There are some people here who, when they're saying chips, mean French fries.
Agree. You're not one of those people.
But I do know the difference.
So do I, but you were saying you said... Oh my god.
No,
yeah. What? If you went into a British fish and chip shop, you wouldn't get fries? What? Really? What would you get? I'm so confused now. I thought that's where we got it. What is wrong with the world? Oh, McDonald's sells French fries. Wait, what do you get when you go to fish and chips?
We're going from
Up here you
Southwest to
get
French
fries.
fries.
I want to know though.
I love these conversations.
I really want to know.
I love you,
Simon, tell me, are your fish and chips thicker than fries? I mean, it depends on the restaurant. Honestly, it's just fries. It's whatever kind of fries they serve usually. So sometimes thicker than fries, but if they have like a house fry or I'm so confused. Pickles?
Yeah.
Where did pickles come from? You don't get fish and pickles, do you? Wait, in case we didn't know you were married, we definitely do now. We are legit.
Oh yeah.
This is us on every line.
We bicker about the stupid things all the time, constantly. It's bad. It's like really bad.
Because neither one of us likes to be wrong.
I'm never wrong.
See, case in point. So she's a Sagittarius sun. I want to think astrology for a second. You're Sagittarius sun.
I'm a Sagittarius, but I'm also Year of the Dragon.
Who cares? She's Sagittarius sun.
Who cares? Did you hear her disrespecting?
Hold on. I am Cancer sun, and I am Gemini moon, Libra rising. You are
always right. She's already right. Yeah,
I want to look up your chart so bad now because I forgot.
You forgot?
Fries here are what? Fries here are thin and chips are thicker. So I caught that part. So when you go, you have to, you call them chips when they're thicker, or you call them.
I thought it was a good response, Simon.
This is what I live with all the time, and you guys are like, oh, relationship goals, and I'm like, do you understand what you're wishing for?
But they only have to deal with this for like an hour at a time.
That's true. You guys get us in small doses. Oh my god.
Oh, steak fries, yes.
Steak fries! That's the word! I was like, what do we call it? We call it steak fries. So our steak fries are British chips. And you may get steak fries when you go for fish and chips, or you may just get regular fries. But you never
we don't really discern.
Potato chips, like crisps.
Did you say potato?
I said potato. My nose is itchy. We have steak cut chips. Oh my god, this is so confusing.
So this should be a challenge. What's
going to be a challenge? What are you doing to us?
This should be a bit of a challenge.
What? You can see her brain working. It's kind of scary.
You'll never get fries in a chippy. So is it like literally?
Oh, Peggy just fixed me, so I got to side with my creator here. Oh, it's right. Do not feed into her ego. It's so big already. She needs her own postal code.
Okay, but that should be a challenge. And I don't know how to word it in a way that makes everybody feel safe and comfortable. So you have to think through and decide where your safety and comfort lies. Feeling of safety. If you find something that makes you a little bit uncomfortable, doesn't have to be big.
Look, she's getting us back on topic again.
I'm getting back on.
Go you!
Okay. I used to do this crap with Lisa all the time.
She did too.
Okay. Think of something and jot down a pro and con list. I'd be willing to try this if the right circumstances existed. Fuck this shit. Okay?
Wait. Oh, so the pro list is I'd be willing to try it, and then the fuck this shit is
like, oh hell no.
Okay, gotcha. There's like that, like hard limits.
So again, we were discussing. Oh, poutine.
Poutine is so good.
So basically, we the
one of our first dates we had poutine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Depends on where you are as to whether it's with or without the e. Okay. So going for coffee as an example, and again, like we decided that Al can do is ask for your coffee. Oh, I'll have that in a
poutine. Wait, we gotta tell Simon what poutine is. Sorry, you'll go back to your challenge in a sec. Simon, poutine is fries of some kind, thick or thin, doesn't matter, with cheese curds and then hot gravy over the top, so the cheese gets all like melty and stretchy, and it's like squeaky cheese. Isn't that what they call
cheese curds?
Places? They're cheese curds, but it's like squeaky when you chew it. But when it gets gravy on it, it gets all melty. So it's like fries with. See, that's Toyota again. I'm going to answer this time.
You go do that. I'm going to outline a small challenge. She's going to take a phone call. Okay. So using the coffee shop example as the example, make a list of things that you could be comfortable doing in the right circumstances. You know, I avoid doing this, but if everything was to come into place, I could be comfortable doing this. I could be comfortable attempting it. And then there's the oh hell no list. And think of the worst case. If this goes wrong, what's the worst case scenario? How can I prevent that from happening? And again, obviously don't be reaching over the top and going to an AC/DC concert for 4 days. So using the oh my god, you guys are crazy. So okay, using the coffee example is like something as simple as going to a coffee shop and asking for your coffee in a takeout cup can change your entire experience when you know you can just get up and go and it's fine. And you won't be the only one sitting there with a takeout cup. Trust me, because people stop by in a hurry, want to make a couple of texts to their friends, and then go. So there's always somebody. Anyway, so figure out, okay, this is my worst case scenario that I'm going to panic and I'm going to want to leave, or I'm going to say something, and then just what can I do to get past that, and then give it a shot. Find something small that's doable that normally you really avoid because, and figure out. Try to think outside the box for solutions, and the solution could just be as simple as, oh, hey, I want to go check out that store. So if you, but there's only a couple of things I want to look at. So if you think you're going to take a while, I'm probably going to avoid the crowd by going and waiting in the car once I'm done. Little white lie, maybe. That might feel like a little white lie, but you didn't overdo it by trying to over-explain, apologize, feel bad about something, and you gave yourself an exit route. So try something little. Try something, and like literally, if you need to write it down, write it down. Try something little and see what feels like. If I could control this, I could try. Give it a try. Take your own, take one of your own little mugs, and then you just like, oh hey, I brought my own. I brought my own. What the heck do they call those things? They're the ones that you screw the lid back on and stuff like that. The steel cups. It's like, yeah. So you just find a way around it so that you can be ready to deal with what you need to do. Travel mug. Yeah, take your own travel mug. That's not even the least bit weird. There's nothing strange about that, especially nowadays. So yeah, find a small example of something that would be a little bit anxiety inducing, a little bit whatever, and give it a shot. See how you feel about it.
Scooch over because he's gonna call me back in a minute. So I'm gonna hang out with you guys for a minute before the.
Oh, she's back for a minute.
It is our starter, but he's gotta find out if we can get a loaner car and get it. It's a whole story.
Okay.
But
so anyway,
so yeah, what did you challenge us to do so I can participate?
Find something small that normally makes you feel uncomfortable. I use the going to the coffee shop as the example of it doesn't have to be small and it doesn't have to have over the top, difficult to achieve solutions.
Yeah.
And try something that would normally make you feel kind of stressed. Try something that you kind of tend to avoid.
Yeah, avoid's a good word.
Yeah, I sometimes call it a to-go mug. I was just having a brain fart and couldn't remember what to call it. But yeah, like try something new. Try something that you generally tend to avoid, and try and figure out a way. Like just the other day, we went over to Denny's as an all-night. I know anybody in Canada, U.S. will have heard of Denny's. It's a 24-hour diner. Went over there just to get some dessert, just to go in, hang out, have some dessert. Came home, and we were there for what, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do little things like that. Do something and see how you feel about it.
Something a little out of the box.
Silence the inner critic that tells you that, oh, these horrible things are going to happen, so you can't do that because you're a horrible person and you don't deserve it, and blah blah blah. Because that inner critic can prevent you from so many things, that even resolving things that you already know that you need to work. I know I need to work on this, but I'm such a POS that it's not going to, I can never fix this, and blah, blah, blah. And it's actually that piece of shit voice, that inner shitbag that's the problem, not you.
Oh, that was fast.
I actually like Denny's. I don't know why. I shouldn't. But we mostly go for their breakfast. And their pancakes sometimes, but they're also literally like they're all about a 2-minute walk away, so it's really easy to get. It's really easy to go there. Denny's is a it's a breakfast. It's mostly a breakfast place. So it's got all the egg dishes, the pancakes, but it's 24 hours. So it's also got. It's kind of hard to describe, but it's got a little bit of everything. I don't know enough about British restaurants to know if there's a comparison, but if you have International House of Pancakes there, then that's a direct competitor of Denny's. Actually, a lot of stuff from those kind of places is prepackaged. So if you don't like, so sometimes the foods can taste a little odd. My inner shitbag tells me everyone thinks I'm up to something if I shop alone. Yeah, it's like, you know what? I tend to not like shopping in general, so I won't go by myself. But screw them. Give yourself a budget, go shopping. Or tell somebody to come with you. Well, I suppose if shopping alone is what you like to do. But yeah, just do it. Just do it and tell somebody, hey, and maybe that's your challenge for yourself. It's like, oh, hey, blah blah blah. I was out doing a little shopping and picked up some things. Oh, were you by yourself? Oh, hell yeah, done. Oh, blah blah blah. That's weird that you shop alone. It's like, oh, fuck no, Done. You don't need to explain it. You don't need to apologize for it.
No, our address is updated probably.
I hate cleaning my fridge, Kay. I hate it. Simon is in the UK. They don't have those places. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, your inner shit bag tells you you're up to something if you're shopping alone, and it's like it's I don't know, it's kind of hard to describe, but you're always gonna to kind of a little bit of self-doubt is kind of a normal thing. I don't want to say it's a good thing, but it's kind of a normal thing because it's something that we all have to deal with.
Yep, that's right.
But oh, what's a trap? Oh no, are we picking on Simon now?
Okay, perfect. We will see him then. All right, thanks so much.
What are we doing? Are we picking on Simon? Tom Hardy. What's Tom Hardy? I hate shopping. I hate it.
I gotta be a buzzkill.
I said, are we picking on Simon? He's going, I'm used to it. Well, that's because you're always being a brat. You know why? Because Simon's always being a brat in Becca's life.
He loves being a brat in Becca's life.
I know.
It's
like,
hilarious.
you are not used to it, Simon.
Don't ever change
No.
Simon.
Simon's not used to it. He's hoarding it now.
Oh.
See, yeah. He stopped listening to the shitbag, and now he's the shitbag inner voice, and now he's just having fun with it.
Oh, by the way, Elle just had a birthday the other day.
Did she?
Happy birthday,
Happy
Elle.
birthday, Elle.
I was kind of in and out of that particular chat and totally missed it until after, but happy birthday.
Oh yeah, Simon and
Who's
Becca
the
are
most
fun.
lickable man alive? What are we talking about? What
Who's
did I
lickable?
miss?
Who are you licking, vegan cracker?
Who are you licking? Oh, Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that doesn't really do it for me. Don't know why.
I don't think any guys are lickable. What did I come back to? Okay, I actually have to be.
Well, apparently you're gonna start licking men now.
It's a good thing that this has devolved because we have to close it out because the Toyota shuttle's on its way to us. So we have to go to the dealership and then we have to pay boatloads of money. Don't ask. Don't ask.
Oh shit, man.
It's bad. It's not bad. It's just the starter, but it's an expensive starter. So
of course it is. Well, maybe it's the starter costs more than the car.
Yeah, the car's fine. They were able to replicate the issue and we're getting it fixed and we won't have a car till Tuesday, but they're getting us a loaner and there's all this stuff. So
well, I have a transit pass. I'm good. We have a good transit system here, so that's fine.
Yeah.
That's what. Oh, she doesn't like being on transit. That's
the first thing I thought of when you were telling the challenge. I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna have to take the bus, aren't I? So we'll see. We'll have to take transit on an adventure somewhere just so I can kind of get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, she hates.
I freaking hate transit, and I was in a cab
Oh
the
no,
other day, and that was not fun
Jason,
either.
I could make an exception for Jason Momoa. There's something about that guy that I
think
really
everybody
like.
can make an exception for Jason Momoa. I think he's hot, and I don't like guys, but he's really hot.
Yeah, no, he is.
Jason Momoa?
Aquaman.
He was
Aquaman. He's Aquaman.
Yeah, but also from Game of Thrones.
Khal Drogo.
Khal Drogo.
On Game of Thrones.
And that's why everybody loves him, because Khal Drogo was also a really hot character.
I climb him like a tree.
I climb him like a tree. Me too, Elle, and that's saying something.
I don't really know who Tom Hardy
I think Peggy
is.
would climb him like a tree. Would you climb him like a tree?
He's a very tall man. I'd have to. I'm short.
But would you have the interest? Was the whole point of the question.
Honestly,
I'd probably just want to pet his abs.
I
think that's probably the only thing I'd like.
He just seems like a
maybe
really...
pat him on the bum. Pat him on the bum and pet his abs. That's all.
There's just something about him that seems like he's probably just this really nice guy, and I'd probably love to hang out with him for a couple hours.
Yeah. You don't want to pet his abs? Or smack him on the bum?
Nah.
I'm going to smack him on the bum.
It's funny. You know what? I mean...
He'd be fun to take body shots off of. Maybe that's about the closest I'd get to, I think, licking
No,
him.
he's a good-looking guy. He's a
Why are
really
we talking
good-looking
about
guy.
this? My defenses are clearly down. Okay, so we have to go, because that shuttle's on its way, like, right now.
Okay.
So we gotta go.
Guys, we have to go deal with our car stuff.
Yay!
At the very least, whether or not you actually and here's the thing, you are under no rules to actually do anything that we've recommended as a potential challenge, but at least think about it, because thinking about the things that you want to do can help change the way you think about the fact that you have a clear right to do it.
She's so right. We gotta rush, you guys.
That could be whether or not you actually do it, just taking the time to think about it you're going to learn something about yourself.
I gotta bum rush you because he's also got to pee.
Okay,
we gotta go. We
have to go, guys.
Have a good day.
Sorry to cut and run.
Sorry to rush.
The car calls.
And so does the bill.